The epic Beowulf is more than just a kick-ass action story about a Viking superhero. The poem is also a textbook about how to be a successful king. Throughout its story, there are plenty of examples of what to do and what not to do when you're the big man of the tribe. The first king mentioned in Beowulf is an orphan turned superstar named Skjold. He washes up on the shores of Denmark with no claim and no name. So how does he become the first of his lineage to rule? Utter and brute force. He simply defeats anyone and everyone who gets in his way, till all his neighbors oversea were compelled to bow to his bidding and bring him their tribute. He's so good at killing and enslaving that he develops a strong following that becomes a nation. He dies a respected king and leaves his kingdom with a great benefit, his son and heir Beowulf, not the title character, who in turn is a good king leaving an heir, Halfdane, who has sons Hrothgar, Hrothgar, and Helga. He has a daughter too. We don't know her name, but she's kind of important because she's married off to Onela, king of the Swedes. We'll talk more about women later. Hrothgar dies in battle, so it's Hrothgar's job to run the family business, and that's Vikings so much that the Shields, or Danes, become so successful that Hrothgar becomes one of the wealthiest kings in Northern Europe. Hrothgar displays another key characteristic favorable to the success of a king: generosity. Hrothgar is so generous, he is referred to as ring giver repeatedly throughout the poem. He even pays Ecgtheow's blood debt to the Wolfings to restore peace and end Ecgtheow's exile. This is important because Ecgtheow will eventually return the favor when he fathers a superhero of a son named Beowulf, who will someday rescue Hrothgar's kingdom from the oppressive fun-hater Grendel. Karma is good. You might be thinking, if Hrothgar is such a great king, then why does he suffer 12 years under Grendel's hatred? The answer to this is simple: pride. When Hrothgar built Heorot to honor himself, this is called hubris, which is commonly a character's downfall in literature. But don't fret, Beowulf eventually saves the day. After Beowulf conquers the Grendel family, the Danes start telling tales, particularly tales about bad kings, probably as a warning to Beowulf, whom they believe will someday soon be king himself. The first tale of warning they tell him is Hermod. Hermod became king by birthright, but pride made Hermod ignore his advisors and fall from favor amongst his thanes. As a result, Hermod is banished to the Jutes and killed. The next tale of warning is about Finn. Finn was king of the North Frisians. Finn married Hildeburh, a Danish woman, only to go to battle with the Danes, resulting in the death of Hnaf, Hildeburh's brother, and a high-ranking Dane. Finn is killed the next year by Hengist, who takes all of Finn's gold and his wife back to Denmark, which brings us to our next characteristic of a successful king: honor your peace treaties. Women in this time period, high-ranking women, are married off as peace contracts between tribes. When Finn kills his brother-in-law, this is considered bad manners, and he pays the consequences. This brings us to the next important characteristic when it comes to being a successful medieval king: staying alive. The most common way to lose the position of king is to get killed. Just ask Beowulf, Halfdane, Hrothgar, Hrothbild, Hæthcyn, Hermod, Finn, Hygelac, Heardred, Ogintheo, Onela, or Beowulf. And since you're going to die eventually as king, you should take steps to ensure that your kingdom peacefully transitions to the next king, usually a son. But Beowulf ruled his kingdom of Geats for 50 years without an heir, naming some scrub Wiglaf at the last possible moment to name an heir, while dying from a poisonous dragon bite. And what's the result? Well, do you know any Geats? So in summary, the lesson of Beowulf, or how to be a king, are win big, be generous, don't be proud, respect others, don't die, and have a successor.
Created using PowToon.